Hello, welcome again to Jalan-Jalan Cari Rumah. Gunaprasath, can you put that fucking vape away?
Put away already.
Okay, thank you. Welcome to Jalan-Jalan Cari Rumah. This is our last episode. Sorry, this is not our last episode. This is our fifth episode.
I know that I have this attraction towards you, right? Or you have this attraction.
I'm trying to get away. That's why I said last episode.
No, it's not our last episode. We've just got it started.
So this is episode 5. We are here again in Broga Hill with this beautiful view behind us. Unfortunately, we can't show it to you because our faces look better in this angle. Yep. Guna needs a lot of sunlight, so do I.
Lots and lots of sunlight.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I've got shades.
Yeah. I don't want the shades, man. I'm alright with this.
Yes. So today, what are we discussing?
We're discussing stocks or property, which is a superior investment. And I'm going to be honest with you up front at the start of this episode. I know jack shit about stocks. How about you, Guna?
I've watched jack shit stocks.
Okay, but I'm going to try and wing it here and give what I think, give my opinion. I mean, I've done some research. I've dabbled a little bit in stocks, but I've done plenty of reading on stocks.
Not me though, but yes, I know a little here and there, but I've never gotten myself involved in stocks simply because I don't see stocks to be a proper investment, personally. My personal opinion. If you ask me which way of investment is beneficial, to me it's property. I see property investment to be the best investment.
The dog's taking your...
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've got company.
Yeah, we've got
three
three dogs.
2 puppies, and one really fierce looking.
Who's nibbling at my pouch.
Yeah.
Dude! No!
Okay. He's gone.
Yeah.
Good dog. They listen.
Yeah. Dude. Yeah. It's universal.
No, I think he speaks your language.
Well, back to the topic, yeah. So, to me, it's property. Property is the best investment. Why I say that is because in the 1985 crash, where the stocks crashed, economy crashed, what happened to property prices? It did not crash.
Yes.
Property prices maintained,
Yes.
and it went up from there. So whoever invested in property at that point, yeah, some may have needed to sell because of their stocks or what the other investments or to survive.
Yep.
But those who were able to pull through it, their property investments shot up after that, and they made back from there.
Okay.
So I look at property investment as a recession-free investment compared to anything else.
Okay, I'm just going to throw a spanner here, right? Yes, stock prices. So one of the downsides of stocks is that it can go to zero overnight. Unlike property, because property has intrinsic value. It's a physical asset. But there was some study done, right, in the US, and they tracked the performance of the property market against the stock market for the last 30 years. I think it was from 1970 to 2000. Or beyond, slightly beyond that. And they found that the stock market in the long run outperformed the property market in terms of returns. Number one. Number two, studies have shown that high net worth individuals, they have usually high net worth individuals have a diversified portfolio, and the vast majority of them, the portfolios of the vast majority of them is number one, stocks, bonds, equities, cash instruments, and property ranks 4. In terms of value, right? So I find that although the stock market the risk is higher, it seems to be the favored choice for high net worth individuals. That means if you're a sophisticated investor and you understand the stock market, stocks seem to be able to give better returns than property, whereas property is the common man's investment.
Well, that makes a lot of sense as well. Now, how do you invest in stocks? You got to have capital. You've got to have cash, right? Now, if you are already there and you've got a nice bank account behind you where you don't mind losing some money and you put it into stocks, I'd say yeah, definitely with proper strategies, bonds, equities. I think it's worth it. right? But how do you start? How do you start your investment game? I wouldn't start with stocks. I wouldn't start with bonds. I would start with property. I feel that property investment is your first step in. If you invest in property, even if you can't, it's easier to get into property investment. Why do I say that? Now, you can purchase a property with the current deals that a lot of developers have out there right now. New property, they've got rebates back to you. Right? You can put your down payment down with your EPF. You can withdraw from your EPF account too and use that for your down payment. You can get a loan from the bank. Right?
Sorry, can I just see that we're recording? Yes. Sorry.
No worries. Yeah, so it's a easier step in compared to bonds and equity and stocks. You need a nice capital in order to make some good money from stocks, right? Or if you don't have that, if you really don't even have that amount to start your property game, you've got REITs. You can get involved in REITs.
I was going to ask you about REITs. Like, what do you
Yeah, real estate investment trust. Now, I think it's fantastic. REITs is a very safe way to invest in property, but it's a long-term game. It's a very long-term game. Don't expect to invest into REITs today and in 2-3 years time expect to see profits. It's not going to happen. It's
because
going
the returns are like
very small.
Right?
Yeah, very
but
small.
it's dividends.
It's dividends.
Do you get capital gains on REITs?
No, only dividends.
Okay.
Yeah. So end of the day, you need to invest at least for the next 15 years or 20 years to see some nice gains. But it's always nice to own part of Sunway Pyramid, right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, always nice to be. You know that hospital is actually you own part of that hospital. You know, so you have that opportunity for that. You know, now investing into property first, make some money from there. Invest into your second property, make some money from there. Invest into your third property. You know, maybe by the third property you would have had enough money accumulated and enough assets accumulated for you to invest into a different type of game, which may be bonds, maybe equity, maybe cash instruments, or may even be stocks. That's my take on it.
Sure, I would have to agree with you, but I still think you need more capital to get into the property game. And okay, so I'm actually not agreeing with you so much.
No, you're not.
I someone's got to be against, right?
Right.
Otherwise, it's not going to be fun. You see, you need more capital to enter the property market. Let's say I want to buy. Yes, you say there's rebates, right? Let's say, for example, I'm buying a 500,000 ringgit home straight from the developer, for example. I might be getting rebates, but then there's these closing costs. Stamp duty on the MOT and renovations that I need to do and make. The cost can be significant. You're talking about 40,000-50,000 ringgit despite having rebates and all that. I can start with the stock market for less, much less. And my exposure is, let's say I start off in the stock market with 10,000 ringgit, right? My exposure is 10,000 ringgit. If I were to, assuming with all the rebates and everything, I could purchase a property for 10,000 ringgit, right? My exposure is actually the total price of the property because I've got a loan from the bank for, let's say, 600 or 700,000. And if I don't know what I'm getting myself into, like a lot of people, I meet almost every time I give a talk outside, I meet one person who feels he's been screwed by the property market.
Yes, makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. But I've got to argue this as well. Right? Now, yes, I
Just make sure it's sensible.
Of course, I'm always sensible. Okay. Right? Now, investing into property, you need some capital for property. You need renovation cost. Now, with today's HOC that's happening, home ownership campaign, right? Your MOTs are taken care of. Yep. Your S&P payment is taken care of. Yep. Your taxes are taken care of. Yep. Pretty much your lawyer's fee, everything is taken care of. Yep. Right? And the rebates that come back from the developer takes care of your down payment as well. Yep. Part of it is at least. Yep. Right? Now, the only thing you got to worry about is renovation cost. So, keep your renovation at minimal. Keep your renovation at minimal for time being, for the start. Right? When you take a loan from the bank, now, the bank may not in today's property market, today's banking system, it's difficult to get that 95% loan. Very, very difficult. 90% loan also is a bit tough. We all understand that. Yeah, so an 80% loan is something that's doable at the moment. So you're going to come up with a 20% down.
Yeah.
So like you said, $500,000 home, your down payment is probably about 100,000, which is a significant amount, right?
Yeah.
And part of that can be subsidized with your EPF withdrawal. And part of it will be subsidized from the rebates back from the developer, right? So it's the renovation cost that's more than anything. And most developments of today, most developments that are fresh, they don't give you an empty block. They actually give you slightly renovated units. So it's about you decorating more than renovating.
But the cost is still significant.
It is. But you've got places like IKEA. You've got places that allow you to renovate, so to decorate for a cheaper price. Enough for you to live, enough for you to have a nice place. And then when things pick up, when you get that bonus at the end of the year, when you get that extra income that comes in, you upgrade, you move along. But that's an asset. It's an asset that you're sitting on. And in time to come, if you know how to play with the repayment back to the bank, check on this. If you know how to play with the repayment back to the bank, you will know how to pay off your interest faster.
Aha. That's something I can talk about because I've done a lot of research into it and I disagree, but okay, go on.
Yeah. And it's a proven fact that at a particular date when you make your payment, more of your payment goes back to your principal rather than your interest. And you want to settle your principal more than your interest. The principal goes lower, your interest becomes less. And that's what we have to look at. How do you do that? There's some people out there who can advise you, not me, but some people out there who can advise you on how to do that. And there are ways to play around with your property investment so that you know that you can settle it in the next, instead of 35 years, you may be able to settle it in the next 10 to 15 years. Yeah, so there is ways to go about this. When it comes to the stock market, yeah, you said 10,000 you can get into the stock market. I totally agree. But the 10,000 that goes in could disappear in 10 minutes as well.
Sure. Okay, let me start first with the mortgage repayment thing, right? I have found, if you look at it mathematically, when you borrow 1 million ringgit from the bank, example, cash depreciates in value due to inflation, right? So what you're doing is you're borrowing, because you're paying it back over a period of 30 years, right? So you're borrowing tomorrow's money at today's price, okay? You have to pay it back in tomorrow. That means to the value, you're borrowing 1 million today, but you're actually paying back, say, 800,000 because cash depreciates over time. So by paying it off earlier, what you're doing is you are paying, you're not allowing that you're not giving time for that cash to depreciate, which actually can be a profit to you. And if you've got a tenant living with you who's covering your interest, not your principal, just the interest payments, you don't really have to worry about the interest. So I think people who are trying to pay off the mortgage early by reducing the principal, you're basically your cost of settling is higher than if you do it in 30 years.
That makes sense also.
Yep. And I think yes, you have some valid points that your stock money can go off like that in zero, but there must be a reason why high net worth individuals who are usually financially savvy opt for stocks as their preferred investment vehicle.
Because at that point, when you're a high net worth individual, losing 10,000 is nothing. Losing 10,000 is like us losing $100. So at that point, when you're at that level, it may be easier for you to take that chance to invest.
But you see, a high net worth individual may not be investing 10,000. He may be investing the equivalent of, so the loss of his stock portfolio may be the equivalent of 10,000 ringgit for the average man, meaning he would have invested, say, 1 million or 2 million in the stock. I don't, as a percentage of each person's net worth, I don't think there is a significant difference.
Yeah, I agree with you. But the thing is, like what I'm trying to say is, it's easier for him to take chances in the sense that he could play around with maybe 100,000 first, 10,000, okay, I put 10,000 in here, okay, I've lost that. I put 10,000 in here, okay, I've lost that. I put 10,000 in here, okay, I lost that. Oh, I made from this 10,000, I made 20,000 here.
Okay,
It's easier for him.
he's got a diversified
Yes, so it's easier for him to play with. As compared to people like us. 10,000, if I put it in and I lose it, I say, oh my God, that's it, end of the day. I'm not getting back into this.
Yep.
So it's it's a bit easier for a high net worth individual to play around compared to us.
Okay, I can
Yeah.
buy that. I can buy that, Guna. You're never going to agree with me that stocks is superior. That's fine. We have to wrap up already.
Yes.
So my closing is this, that I don't think there's a superior investment. I think stocks has got its advantages and benefits. There must be a reason why it is the preferred choice, and property actually ranks fourth for high net worth individuals in terms of their total portfolio. And there's also benefits to property. There's a reason why a lot of people are investing in property. I've met many people who made tons of money on property investment. Malaysians are the most obsessed about property in Southeast Asia, and they rank number 4 for this in the world. So again, there must be a reason for this. I am not going to say that either is superior. I'm going to say that they provide different kinds of returns for different types of risk appetites and different types of wealth levels.
So basically, in this episode, you are the one talking cock lah. Because you're on the fence, right?
No, because I've got a bigger one. So I
How would you even know that? There's been no comparison.
experience, bro.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, to me personally, I've been in the property industry for the past 13 years. And I've seen many people succeed in property investment. I have hardly seen anyone fail in property investment.
Oh, I see a lot.
You've seen a lot,
yes.
yeah? I've hardly come across people who fail. Of course, those who invested into developers who are unnamed, no name developers, who suddenly turned up, who mushroom around building one property, and they give you all kinds of advertising where it's great for you, this, that, and it's a developer you don't even know of, and you invest with them. Yeah, you've got a risk to take there. But when it comes to the big players, and you do your research, when you've researched properly, you know what you're getting yourself into. You have an end game when it comes to property. You must have an end game, an entrance and an exit clause. When you have that, with a plan, you have that exit clause, you should not fail. It's like Monopoly.
All right, there you have it from Ape Man, that about properties. So you're saying properties are superior, lah?
I'd say.
Okay.
Definitely. To me, property investment is a sure go if you invest smartly.
All right. I disagree. I think both stocks and properties have their advantages. What do you think? Leave your comments. Tell us. We're not experts in stocks. We understand property better, actually. So if you're a stock investor, or you disagree with us, or you have something that can add light or shed more information to what has been discussed today, we'd be happy to hear your comments.
We value your comments.
Yep. So that's us on Jalan Jalan Cari Rumah, signing off. See you again in our next episode.